does density mean that when we look at Portland, if we switch sides, once we get to density, we're going to look the same? Do we need to be truly urbanized in order to achieve our goal, or are there other ways we can think about it? I think that's really my question. I know that in my neighborhood, there's contemplation of a highly urbanized development that will really change things. And I want to say, I'm not against development close to me. I welcome some development next to me, but I wonder what that should look like.
Part of the question I heard there is, how does South Portland grow and kind of keep South Portland and not just be a mere image of Portland?
The comprehensive plan is a great opportunity for the town to come up with what its vision is for what it's going to look like and to consider the perspective of housing. So I think the folks from the city are probably better equipped to talk about.
The comprehensive plan ultimately will provide us guidance. It'll tell us that, for, in your sake, Ferry Village, that neighborhood, we see that these are the things that Ferry Village needs, from housing, from social services, from transportation, from all manner of things that we have to cover in the comp plan. And then the next step is the really literal work of, well, how do we actually change any policies, investment strategies, or zoning, land use regulations to allow that to happen? There's multiple steps in this process. I think one thing I would like to share is that the community, it's not one opportunity at one meeting at one point in time where all of this gets decided and where all of it is fully detailed out and explained. We work on this thing like an onion. There's the setting of a broad goal, then there's an identification of a general policy that we want to work in. And okay, within that policy, there's many different ways that we could get that policy done. Which way is right for South Portland? And once we know which way feels right for South Portland, then do we have a proposal that kind of fits within those boundaries, and then council can consider it. All of that is happening through public meetings, public forums, and then also formal public hearings. And there's one particular effort that we're going through now that's going to be at the end of April, a community discussion around just some fundamental big policy questions. One is related to housing, and it talks about this question of, are we as a community feeling that our housing needs to be preserving as many neighborhoods as possible and identifying really focused high growth areas to try and capture the housing that we need to provide? Or are we feeling that we need to sort of allow every part of the community, every neighborhood to contribute its share and its form of housing? So what kind of growth do we feel is right for South Portland and where we are today? And the answer to that question will allow us then to start narrowing down the types of policy options that we would like to put in front of the comprehensive plan committee for consideration before they move it to the council.
I honestly think that density and inclusion are really two things to really think about. If we make room for everybody and we work to make sure that everyone is included, that's, I think, the antidote to a lot of what we have here. And if we have a mindset of making sure that all of us are included as part of the community and welcoming mindset, then I think we can do it. It's just sort of making room for everybody. We have a system, it's like musical chairs. It's like whoever's left out is just, there's no place to go. And we can fix that by just making a little room at the table for everybody.
And I've heard this kind of idea in the comprehensive plan committee of what is South Portland. So people see it as kind of a series of villages. You have these little walkable neighborhoods with housing and stores. And so as South Portland grows, could be an opportunity to enhance those little villages, have nodes of housing that is denser, and there's also places to work and buy food near there, and you connect these nodes with transit that works so that people can walk to the grocery store, but also when people need to leave the nodes, they can take the bus to the next node, and you can have that density and not necessarily hurt your traffic patterns and not create more carbon in the air.
That's my first time attending one of these events. I didn't really know what to expect coming here, and so much to touch on. But I really like what the words you just used, and enhance these villages, because I think of myself as in being very pro development. I think there's a lot we can do in this city. There seems to be a lot of areas where there are development opportunities, But I think we have to be so responsible if we want to maintain the character of what makes our city, so special, right? We don't necessarily, want to be just like Portland. We don't want it to feel like it's Congress Street, everywhere you go in town. I love the village aspect of it, the small town feel, even though we're a city and we're close to everything. But we have to develop. We have to add housing. So enhancing the villages, I think, is just a great term. It feels a lot safer to me than maybe some of the ways some of this stuff gets presented, out there. So I think I would be for that idea. I would want to tread very, cautiously, down that road. But I think that's what I think makes sense for the community is enhancing these villages and trying to maintain the character. While that you can, bringing housing in, and the diversity of housing I think is really important. I really liked what was said about that. I think that is, doing things organically through housing I think is a really great idea. The people that are coming to South Portland to work remotely and live in South Portland is because of the community we've established here. Because first we had jobs and we had people that could move here and could go to work and could open up a restaurant, or we created a community because there were jobs here. People were in it to live here. That community flourished, and now more people want to be here, and they can be here without having to have a job here. You think South Portland's awesome, Portland's awesome, Brunswick, Brunswick Bath, Topsom. You can go, Biddeford, Saco. You can name sort of what we think are like the trendiest places where people want to go, people want to live, the coolest communities, for lack of a better phrase. There could be more of those communities, and revitalizing those communities and starting with jobs. I don't know how you do that, right? I don't have the solutions, unfortunately. But at the state level, if we could be looking at it, some of these communities we got to look at the jobs first, and then the housing second. Where then you come to South Portland and say, well, it's housing first, clearly, but it's a different thing in every community. And so, thanks for letting me talk so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the link you made between the businesses and the housing, and that there is a special balance and relationship there. When you have some great businesses and a good economy, people want to move here, and that's exciting. And now you have the business community saying, we love that we have all these open positions and people want to move here and we don't have the housing for them. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this forum tonight is the business community #1 priority is housing now.